Okay, this is chapter 20 of The Night Singer. 20. The sweat made her clothes cling to her body, and Rebecca felt like she couldn't breathe. She threw back the duvet and sat up. That was as far as she got in her attempt to get out of bed. After her conversation with Hannah, she hadn't known what to do with herself. She had gone up to her bedroom, closed the blinds, and crawled beneath the covers. The news that Joel had smoked hash was too much to take. How could that have passed her by? It also left her worried about what else might come out. On the bedside table, her phone buzzed. Petrie had been in touch several times, asking how she was. It was nice that he cared, of course, but his concern felt just like her clothes right now, itchy and uncomfortable. Sanja had come to pick up Molly this morning and planned to spend the day spoiling her, as though ice cream could make up for a dead big brother. Rebecca had held off telling Molly until Petrie got home the evening before, and the memory of the little girl clinging to her as she sobbed desperate, silent tears made her gasp for air. They had sat there like that for several minutes, and Rebecca hadn't known what to do or say. Molly's hamster had died 6 months earlier, and they had read a picture book about a group of children who start a funeral parlor for animals, but Rebecca hadn't wanted to bring up the stupid little hamster as though it were comparable. In the end, Molly had let her go and thrown herself at Petrie instead. Her mother had come over for a few hours yesterday evening and was coming over again this afternoon. Right now, Rebecca couldn't deal with her either. It was as though she could only see her old mom, the one who had thought Rebecca was acting out when all she really wanted was to be seen. Her mother had been 21 when she had her, dropping out of university and moving home, finding a job to support herself and her baby. Her parents had refused to help her. What Rebecca was most proud of after she had Joel was that she had never made him feel like a mistake, or she didn't think she had anyway. She turned on the light above the bed and reached for her phone, but the message wasn't from Petrie, it was from Axel. "Stop telling the police all this bullshit about me." Rebecca slumped back into bed. All the police had told her about Joel's death was that he had been beaten. Had Axel hit him? She hoped not, mostly for Joel's sake. She didn't want the last thing he saw to be his father raising his fist. "It's not bullshit, it's the truth," she wrote back. She knew what Axel was capable of. He had broken her ribs, given her bruises all over, though he had always been good at avoiding her face, split her eyebrow, not by using his fist, but by throwing her against a radiator. The awful cry Joel had let out when he saw her was seared in her mind. But killing someone? No. Rebecca didn't want to believe that, for her own sake as much as anything else, because of what it said about her. The mistake had never been Joel. It was trying to make things work with Axel. Her phone buzzed again. "I bet your perverted boyfriend did it. Maybe I should tell the cops." Perverted? What did he mean? She knew Axel was trying to provoke her, and she couldn't let it get to her. Petrie was the calmest, most considerate man she had ever met, possibly too calm. She and Petrie hadn't spoken much about his childhood, though she knew it had been hard. His parents, Finns, living just outside of Stockholm, had died in a car accident when he was just 9, and Petrie had spent a few years moving between various care homes and institutions, forgetting Finnish and learning plenty of other things before ultimately ending up with Sonja, about as far from the big city as he could get. Rebecca couldn't think of a better adoptive mother than Sonja, and Petrie certainly seemed to have taken after her in many respects. But was it really possible to make it through a childhood like that unscathed? When they first started dating, she had been hesitant. She had heard the rumors about him, the whispers that he liked to drink and fight, but she had quickly realized they weren't true. What Rebecca had done to Petrie was awful, unforgivable. The first time she and Gabriel had slept together was during the Harvest Festival last autumn, and she felt physically sick when she thought back to the way they had behaved like teenagers, having sex in his car. She might have been able to explain away that first time by saying they were both drunk, but not the fact that they had done it again just a week later. She had told Petrie she was going to meet a friend, another artist, but instead she had gone away with Gabriel. She had allowed it to continue month after month, choosing to shrug off any responsibility. Instead, she blamed Petrie, claiming that his calmness was boring, that he couldn't give her what Gabriel could, that she not only felt like Gabriel really saw her, but also that he worshipped her. It was the spring festival this coming weekend, this season's answer to the harvest festival. And he had sent her all kinds of messages about how incredible she was. That was why it had come as such a shock when he told her he wanted to end things on the night of the barbecue. She knew she shouldn't have been upset, that she should have been happy. Looking back now, she felt numb when she thought about her reaction. Joel's death had changed everything. It was her guilty conscience that eventually forced Rebecca up out of bed. She went downstairs to the kitchen and filled the kettle, took out a cup and reached for the jar of instant coffee. Petrie was more than she deserved, kind, stable. He didn't get worked up for no reason, and he meant everything he said, just like Sonja. Molly was better off there than here with her right now, than in school. Did Molly really understand what had happened? Rebecca wasn't sure. The girl had cried desperately because Joel would never be coming back, but this morning she had also talked about his absence as though it was only temporarily. The sound of the phone ringing made Rebecca jump. She doubted Axel would call, but maybe it was Petrie. The number wasn't one she recognized, and after hesitating for a moment, she picked it up. "Hello, my name is Veronica Kranz. I'm a reporter calling from Expressin. I was wondering if..." Rebecca hung up before she had time to hear what Veronica Kranz was wondering. What it was like to have your son murdered, perhaps? Your drug user of a son, or to suspect that this was his father who had killed him? Everyone in the village knew what had happened by now, and even those who didn't must have seen the mountain of flowers outside. Barometer had published an article about it this morning. Oland's Blabbit, too. Rebecca slumped on the floor, didn't have the energy to make it to a chair. She had experienced Axel's anger so many times, and it was usually something stupid that set him off, that he had heard her talking to Christopher, that she had burned his dinner, that she was wearing the wrong shade of lipstick. She had threatened to leave him once, and that was when he threw her into the radiator. No matter how desperately Rebecca wanted someone else to be responsible for her son's death, the awful truth was that Axel had no limits.